Hey everybody, welcome back to Leosophy. Hopefully the rain's not going to interfere too much with the audio. It is a sitting vid. Hopefully it won't have to turn into a standing vid. 3 more questions, and these are all like conspiracy based. Again, I'm trying to like filter things so I answer every question, but also maintain something resembling categories. So let's see. What? Um, yeah, I knew eventually somebody'd ask this because of the whole 13th floor thing. We're probably not going to cover that anytime soon, simply because we've actually got kind of a full roster. But what happened with Epstein? Um, I'm not sure. There's only 2 possibilities. Either he was murdered, or the whole thing was faked. Hands down, the narrative that the media keeps insisting on is 100% not real. It's not true. Um, the real question is he back on Little St. James Island, or is he decomposing in the ground? That's really the question. But yeah, the normal narrative, not true at all, and a lot of people connected with him are involved with all this weird human trafficking stuff. The more I read into like the whole Pizzagate thing, the more I'm convinced that it is 100% real. That's something you can all look into. I'm not going to make a whole video about it because it's one of those things that if somebody tells you, you're not going to believe it anyway. It's one of those things where you kind of have to do your own research. It's like you can't learn calculus until you've learned to add, and it's kind of a slow progression reading up on this stuff. So yeah, just letting you know, yeah, absolutely not what it's being ruled as right now. I'm being very careful with my verbiage because I don't want because this is going on BitChute and YouTube, and I don't want YouTube's you know algorithms to mess it up. Second question, because of today, at the time of recording this video, it's a few days in advance. The one of the most notable, perhaps even the founder of the White Helmets, is um, are they real? Yeah, they're also, again, crisis actors are 100% real. I'm not saying that every time something bad happens, that's why, but this is another one of those examples where a simple 5 minutes of research, you can see tons of the kids who were being shelled, and the images with the white helmets, just, oh my God, look what happened to that kid. And then you see the next photo, and it's like, oh, they're fine. Because they're actors. It's fake. A lot of it's fake. A lot of ISIS execution vids are fake. That doesn't mean ISIS, by the way, is 100% fake, or that they don't actually hurt anybody, or that they're not real or anything. I'm just saying plenty of their videos are like top notch. Like, who directed that? I've seen a few where I'm like, did they get Michael Bay in on this? It's just amazing. Wow, 3 minutes in and already answered 2 questions. Because, like I said, these are not going to be very detailed. These are more me like just pointing in the right direction, saying, yeah, this is something you should research because what you're being fed is, assuming you're. Well, I know a lot of people on this, at least on BitChute, are not getting their news from mainstream sources, but still, the ordinary narrative that people come to expect is clearly false in a lot of instances, and this is definitely one of them. And I'm not Mr. Woo Woo. I'm not going to teach you how to make what's this stuff called orgone or orgonite or whatever, which is it's gibber, whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to get too much into it because I'm going to get mad and get on a soapbox. Last question, and this one, interestingly, one of the reasons I picked it is we are going to do an episode soon about this to flesh it out further on the 13th floor, so look for it. Is Lyme disease man-made? Almost certainly not originally man-made. It almost certainly did exist. It existed in a part of Connecticut called, I think it was Lyme County or Limetown, something like that. But yeah, well, close to Limetown, or Lyme County or whatever, is Plum Island, which is a research base and is a laboratory. They investigate a lot of viruses and bacteria. They investigate a lot of potential weaponized uses of these pathogens, and that is almost certainly ground zero for Lyme disease. And I find it interesting. This is where I'm going to go on a tangent that's a little different from what you may have heard if you've researched Plum Island and Lyme disease and all that. I find it interesting that the biggest issue that a lot of elitists have with this country, as well as other parts of the West, they don't like the rural places, do they? They don't like the salt of the earth, the people that grow their food, the cosmopolitan folks. They don't really care much for what they regard as riffraff. You can see it in their politics. People in Middle America don't care how things are run in Maine or in California or in Illinois. But people in California, Illinois, and Maine are very fixated on how things should be run in Middle America. Well, interestingly enough, those places are rural, which means they have trees, which means they have more ticks, and Lyme disease is a tick-borne pathogen. A Texas A&M University Biodefense Lab was actually closed because of outbreaks of brucella and coxiella. Both of those are also tick-borne pathogens. Why were they researching those? Why are all these biosafety level 3 labs have such a fixation with tick-borne pathogens? And why are so many of them scarce, if not unheard of, until they start researching them and something goes wrong? It's almost like it has something to do with changing the landscape of a country by decreasing the survival rate or the viability or even just the day-to-day comfort or sanity of the people that live there. Now that totally is a theory. That's a conspiracy theory. That's me talking nonsense. Just saying it's my own spin on it. It's something I've noticed. I find it peculiar that a lot of these researchers that have accidents and these pathogens get out. Why are so many of them tick-borne rather than airborne? It's very peculiar. So yeah, Lyme disease, definitely a mysterious illness that has peculiar origins, that's very taboo to even talk about to medical professionals, and I think at least has a cursory relationship with Plum Island, the laboratory. And that's becoming somewhat mainstream, talking about things like that. But we're definitely going to talk about it on the 13th floor the next few weeks. So look for it. That's it. That's all 3 conspiracy questions this week. Maybe next week it'll be a little more, NPC normie tier. Like, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Keep asking questions. That's right. Bye.